Good evening, everyone. The time is now 7:30, and this is the March 24th, 2022 work session of the Allendale Mayor and Council. Welcome to everyone who is joining us in the audience and on Zoom. At this time, I ask everyone to please mute your devices so as not to distract from the business of the meeting. There will be one opportunity during this meeting for public comment, and we'll advise you at the appropriate time. Michelle, please read the Open Public Meeting Act announcement.
Sure. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice requirements have been satisfied. The dates for the year confirmed at the annual meeting are posted on the public bulletin board in the municipal building and on the borough website, published in the record within the first 10 days of the new year, and copies are sent to Original News and Star Ledger. Notice of this meeting by the March 22nd, 2022 sunshine notice was sent to the record, Ridgewood News, and Star Ledger, and has been posted on the public bulletin board in the municipal building and borough website.
Thank you, Michelle. Please conduct the roll call.
Sure. Councilwoman Homan. Here. Councilwoman Lovasolo.
Here.
Councilman O'Connell. Absent. Councilman O'Toole.
Here.
Councilman Sasso.
Here.
Councilwoman Wasinski.
Here.
And Mayor Bernstein.
Here. Thank you very much, Michelle. Public comment. This is the first of 3 opportunities tonight for the public present to comment. Anyone from the public wishing to speak, please come to the microphone at the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you will be given 3 minutes to address the governing body. Not seeing anyone. Go to administration agenda review. Tonight's regular session agenda includes minutes from September 23rd, 2021 through December 16th, 2021, work and regular sessions, as well as the January 3rd, 2022 reorganization meetings. Council members O'Connell and Wazinski will need to abstain from the September 23rd meetings. Ed's not here. Councilwoman Lovasolo will need to abstain from the 2021 meetings, and everyone is eligible to vote for the 2020 January 3rd, 2022 reorg meeting. We'll also have second reading and public hearing for ordinance 22-01, which sets the 2022 salary ranges for our non-union employees. Resolution 22-103 authorizes the execution of an agreement of sale of Allendale's water system with Suez Water New Jersey, Inc. I invite Councilwoman Homan. I imagine you might have something that you want to say.
Well, I think I'd like to do it in my report, if that's okay.
Which is fine.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
There are also 7 resolutions listed on the consent agenda and 1 matter for closed session pertaining to 22230 contract negotiations. Does anyone have any questions or comments regarding the agenda? Not seeing anyone? Okay. Council reports. Councilwoman Homan?
Oh, all right. Okay. So I'm going to bring my computer down. I should have printed it off, but. And Michelle, I'll send it to you. I'm going to kind of read it some parts of it so that I don't forget anything.
Thank you.
So first of all, thank you, Ari, for asking. But the water shutoff moratorium in New Jersey ended on March 15th of 2022. However, prior to the shutoff of any resident's water, this law requires that we offer an installment plan for unpaid balances. Interest fee may be applied to any arrears fees. Bill assistance and arrears forgiveness programs are available through the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs, and any residents are encouraged to visit our website where we will have more information available. Everyone hopefully did receive the notification from the Vice President and General Manager of Suez, Alan Whalen. If not, I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware that the Suez Veolia merger is complete and they have officially become Veolia. And I believe we will start to see the transition of the names over the next several weeks into months. This does not impact the sale of the Allendale water system to Suez / Veolia, is kind of how I'm calling it. Our working team remains the same, and Suez Veolia remains committed to providing excellent water service as currently our contract water operator and then officially our water provider once the sale of the system does close. And we really do continue to make progress on this process. And Ari, thanks for giving me the opportunity before, but tonight's resolution, which is 22-103, is on the agenda for consideration. Previously we had passed another resolution, but we felt that as the water committee team and Suez finalized this legal document, that we worked really to define the land transfers more clearly. And we wanted to represent for everybody's consideration and for the public's knowledge to have it, available out there. So it should be signed, and I believe we received Suez's signed document today, which is just, the culmination of work is tremendous. And Ari's been on the team the whole way. Ray Wiss has been unbelievable. We've had Ryan Skirbo, who has been our consultant, who has just been tremendous. Mike Vreeland has worked tirelessly. The piles on his desk were large. Steve, thank you for the time you spent on the water committee. And Suzanne, it's been a pleasure. And Ron, did I already thank you, or do I? No, we've had just.
Well, I want to say we have 2.5 months and Suzanne got it done.
Yes, exactly.
I was the problem.
Not saying anything.
No problem, guys.
Anyway, so I certainly asked for an affirmative vote this evening for resolution 22-103, but I would like to review what some of the information on the temporary treatment, as well as the reason for the final land transfers to be not completely defined, even as we move this sale along, and the options that we have planned in the purchase agreement. So I'm going to ask you, we're all sent the document previously, but on Exhibit L, the PFAS plan is reviewed. And the proposed Suez capital plan assumed a full upgrade of the new street treatment plant, including the replacement of the bubblers for VOC treatment that we have, as well as new technology for the treatment of PFAS. The approximate timeline, as we talked the whole time, from design through to actual build is about 3.5 years. But Suez is committed to meeting and exceeding the requirements for the removal of PFAS from our drinking water. And the EPA and the NJDEP has introduced those new regulations. The levels of PFAS at the existing new street wells are within regulation, but they are, at the upper limits. Currently, we do have well 11 turned off. The parties, being Suez and ourselves, have concluded the temporary treatment will be needed prior to that 3.5 years of the permanent new street treatment plants. And as such, the parties have agreed that the sale of should the sale of the water system proceed, which tonight is another great step, Suez will design and construct temporary PFAS treatment at the new street treatment plant. And the goal is to have that on or before May of 2023. So I say that because we're doing quarterly testing for PFAS, every quarter, and, we may creep into violation. And I feel that we have been very transparent with the residents, and we've made every effort to make sure that we are treating PFAS appropriately. And Suez has been a great partner. The challenge with the temporary and the permanent treatment is the necessity of NJDEP permits. And it's not just one permit, there are multiple permits, whether they're because of floodplains, because of being close to wetlands, and just the general design and permitting on how you actually implement PFAS treatment. So what the NJDEP allows is what will define what will be built and where it will be built. So as people may remember, we did secure permits for temporary treatment. However, as we really talked through with the team about what we were planning on doing with Suez, and it's certainly saved Allendale a lot of money, but it's not as quick as we'd like it to be. There was some concern that because it's 3.5 years, it's going through the winters, that perhaps some of the connections may not be exactly what would be optimal. And so Suez is working with us and they will be doing some modifications, and whether that means that that existing permit can be modified or whether we'll have to get new permits. It's all a great thing for Allendale, and I couldn't be more, grateful that we have the partner that we do. So the idea is that at this point, the temporary treatment, instead of being housed with a tractor trailer and connections to it, it will actually be housed in what I'm calling the water office, what used to house the water office and the water vehicles. And so that's where ideally that's going to be. We don't feel that that's a big, huge ask from a permitting standpoint to NJDEP. It does mean piping is going to have to be put under the Little Creek. So, but again, the idea is that that would be May of 2023. Let's see. So the permanent treatment is a little bit more challenging because of these floodway and flood zone areas. And so because of that, we needed to come up with some contingency plans because, Suez wants to buy our system, and honestly, we want this transaction to move forward. And so if you look at Exhibit O, it's really talks about a subdivision of block 2102, lot 4. And this is a picture not of the whole piece of property, but here is where we start to talk about the fact that the borough will work with Suez to secure approvals for the PFAS treatment, and the subdivision will, at a minimum, this is where our current water treatment plant is. So at a minimum, this, and we're calling it the water treatment plant lot, that's going to then no matter what. The question is that the first option is option A, that they would be in what we're currently calling, the water office building. And so that's where hopefully the temporary treatment will be and the permanent treatment. So that's within the DPW lot, and they would then additionally get that property there. Should that not be an option, if for some reason they cannot get the permits and we cannot work with them to get the permits that we need, there is also an option to build an entire new building, and that's called the alternative lot, option B. If that were to be what the NJDEP would approve, we would then again give them the water treatment plant lot, because that's where our current treatment is, and that is where a portion of it will stay. Then they would have some sort of an easement across, and they would get this piece of property here. So alternative lot option B. How am I doing?
Very well.
If option C is if the NJDEP does not approve of the permanent treatment in either option A or option B, then we will move to, Amy, can you just scroll down maybe a little bit? This is option C, and these are actually easements, but we have, if you keep going, Amy. Smaller. Anyway, we have an open piece of land back here that's by where well 4 is. And so they would have an easement at the back to be able to build the treatment facility there. So that's option C. And then option D is that we would work together if all of those should, for some strange reason, and we, neither Suez or ourselves, believe that that's the case, but you always want to have another contingency, that in the contract that we would work with Suez to find a place, because Allendale needs PFAS treatment and Suez needs PFAS treatment in order to stay in compliance. And then if for some reason something else, option, if we can't get something on New Street, we're going to have to figure something out. It's basically option E. So, in summary, I would say that Allendale is committed to assist in any way possible the acquisition of permits, land, and information to ensure that Suez and Allendale residents have PFAS temporary and permanent treatment. And honestly, it's, again, so important that Allendale always works closely with Suez Veolia, because water is so important, and that's the reason why, we began engaging in this process, because it's become so complicated, but it is so important to provide clean, safe, reliable service. Any questions on the New Street property and kind of the different options that are built into the contracts? And again, it's been an incredible team. Any questions?
No, and I think that the key here in the options that were just presented is to avoid any, I'll say, frustration of purpose is what the parties tried to do in working together, was to create as many scenarios as possible that would allow for the necessary treatment to move forward on both a temporary and a permanent basis. And it's also, from the borough's vantage point, it's a way of making sure that the deal gets done. Because if not A, then B, if not B, then C. And then if all else fails, we work together to find a solution.
So it's not been easy, but it's been a very teamwork atmosphere. And that's important for residents to understand how much Suez has been a great team player, right, Ron?
Yes, definitely.
All right, so good. So maybe you can turn that off or do whatever. The other thing that I wanted to make sure I shared is just the land transfer around the Fairhaven water tank. So currently there are actually 3 lots up there that the Allendale Borough owns. 2 of them will be going to Suez, and they will actually be combined into one lot. And then we will keep the lot at the back, which is actually block 303, lot 1, and we will have an easement back to that particular lot. So that's land that the borough will retain. And just as a review on zoning, the statute 270-12 of the land use ordinances of the borough of Allendale do permit the land to be used for potable water and utility services. And we have committed to Suez that should there be any challenges with that we would help them with any zoning issues that they have. But everything looks like it's great. And there's additional language in the agreement that anybody can look at should they be interested. But I think that, again, it's been a real process, and it's just water is amazing, and it's more and more you're reading in the papers about communities that are in violation, and I think that we as a team really have been ahead of what we were facing and understanding the costs and the limitations that a small municipality like Allendale has, and I think that we've done a good job in a very tough situation. So I hope everybody will vote yes. If anybody ever has any questions on water, I'd love to talk about it.
Thank you
I
very
mean,
much.
I would just like to comment on, such an amazing job you and your team have done. I mean, this has been a journey. It's been years and years, and the research, no stone was left unturned, and it wasn't such an obvious answer in the very beginning. And, it had to be a process. And I know I'm very happy that you were leading this, because I know that you did not look at every single option or every single detail that you possibly could.
Well, it really was everybody.
It was, of course, it was a big team, but it was a team effort, as it always is, right? But you did lead it, and I'm very grateful for you and all that you did. And I think this is definitely the best option for Allendale. There's no question in our minds when everything was finally put on the table that this was actually what we had to do to provide clean drinking water at a reasonable price for Allendale
And I
residents.
feel like Ron can attest. I mean, we're still now, we're doing a good job. We are in compliance.
I spoke to Jim Fahey today because we're supposed to meet tomorrow,
Yeah.
but the new CFO of the new whatever is meeting with their staff tomorrow. So I said, so we're meeting next Friday, the 5th, April 1st, next Friday. But the reason we can put the meeting off, there is right now no curb boxes, no hydrants that need to be replaced. The only project we have is I'm going to sub it out is the 3 monitoring wells that DEP wants in town,
Which is just another
Nothing,
example of more
yeah.
wells being put, more monitoring
Yeah.
wells being put in. It's just an incredible
there's
amount.
no emergencies. There's nothing I got to do with Jim right now. and our stock is still good enough to deal with in good faith, but we need to keep it going until the sale goes through, so. thank you, guys.
Which, just as a note, in hopes that we sign this, the next steps will be that Ari will be approved to sign this document. Then Suez can put together the submission to the Board of Public Utilities. They then do all of their due diligence to ensure that, this is a good thing to all involved. And we may or may not be asked questions, but Ray and Ryan Scribo will be following along in that, and anything that we need to know will be apprised of. And so hopefully, I don't know, September closing, maybe?
Fingers crossed.
Great job. Great job.
Thank you, everyone.
Major monumental move tonight.
Thank you very much. With that, Councilman Sasso.
The Facilities, Parks and Recreation Committee has not met since our last meeting, but there's a lot going on. Thanks to Mr. Kistner and his crew and DPW. They're painting, they're prepping
Opening
to
day.
fix the damage done by the storm Ida, right? Was it that Ida?
Mhm.
Ball fields look great. They're getting ready for the kids and adults too, I guess. And that's it for tonight.
Great.
Amy, did I miss anything?
No, just that, opening day is next week, and it's gonna be in the 20s, which it always seems to happen.
A nice
But-
spring day.
Yeah, so, that's it.
Great. Thank you for that. Amy, your report?
So the Admin and Finance Committee has been actually meeting quite often. We met this week. We're actually meeting it tomorrow. So we're really wrapping up the budget. We have looked at it, re-looked at it. Some new surprises came that we had to put in the budget, some we could take out. So we're going to have a final go at it tomorrow, and hopefully it will be ready to go. And we will be able to introduce it at, what was it? First meeting in
Yeah,
April.
right.
Yeah, is what our goal is.
Right, tomorrow at 12:30. Good.
Perfect.
Thank you for
That's
that.
it.
Well, we've been hearing about it in surrounding towns for a while, but it's here now. We had a car theft in the borough yesterday.
Oh,
Chief Dillon's gonna expound upon that during his report. I don't want to, say anything that I can't. Let him handle that. You might be aware of a police department distracted driving post that was circulated. I understand it caused a little bit of a stir with its list of distractions, including talking to passengers, changing the radio station. But the department applied for and was awarded a state administered distracted driving grant. And in order to be in compliance with that grant, that had to be posted with that wording. That was a state thing. So it didn't come from the Allendale Police Department. An additional grant application was submitted for an automated chest compression device, which will be used by police and first responders at the scene of a cardiac arrest. APD is working with Michelle in crafting a portal through GovPilot for alarm registrations at no cost to the borough. So thank you guys for your work on that. And now the numbers. Everybody loves the numbers. I feel like Yolanda Vega up here. Year-to-date fire calls, 59, EMS calls, 188, and police record entries and calls for service, 3,905. And finally, the Holiday Observers Easter egg hunt will be held on April 9th, Saturday at 10 a.m. You'll find Councilman O'Connell, Tyler, and I all decked out in our red Holiday Observers gear.
Oh, I thought you were
Ready
gonna
to go.
say in costume like chicks or.
I don't do that anymore.
big
So we invite everybody to turn out. They call the Kentucky Derby the fastest 2 minutes in sports, but you've not seen a group of excited 6-year-olds and the prospect of free candy up for grabs glistening in the sun on the beach.
Right.
And the mom's race is a little even dicier. I took my life in my hands walking across the start line one day. So as usual, our heartfelt thanks to the DPW. They literally do a lot of the heavy lifting for us, the staff of Borough Hall and the governing body for your help in helping all these things come to fruition.
Great.
That's it.
Thank you very much, Matt. Suzanne, your report?
Yep, our land use committee met last Wednesday morning. As usual, we reviewed and addressed some resident concerns and worked up what I think are appropriate solutions. We clarified the Allendale policy around stream cleaning and confirmed that we align with the state regulation. The stream maintenance on private property is a responsibility of the homeowner. We are continuing to review our 5G ordinance that has been drafted for Allendale and are shooting to introduce it to the mayor and council at some meeting in April. We are pleased, well, I'm pleased to report that we've added the request to our checklist that applicants before the land use board should also submit their plans electronically. Many thanks to Linda for helping to make this happen. I'm going to start encouraging more of our land use board members to actually want this. As of now, there's only a handful. Hopefully it'll be more by the end. But Linda has already started to record there. He's one of them. He wants them. Yeah, he wants electronically. And that's about it.
Great, thank you. I have 4 minutes. Let's see if I can do the mayor's report in four minutes before we conclude work session. Compost and recycling facilities resume regular hours starting April 2nd. Big day for a lot of people. I know they have it marked on the calendar. They will be open Saturdays from 9 to 3, Sundays from 9 to 1. April 2nd through December 18th. To use the compost facility, residents must purchase a 2022 compost permit. Applications can be completed on our website at allendalenj.gov. Employees from the clerk's office will also be at the facility that weekend to sell permits as well. Spring cleaning and recycling events. Sunday, April 3rd at the Bergen County Utilities Authority. They will be having a household hazardous waste collection at Bergen Community College in Paramus from 9 to 3, rain or shine. Visit bcua.org for all details on items they accept. And on April 23rd, save the date and start your spring cleaning. So there's a lot going on here at Borough Hall. Allendale, in conjunction with the BCUA, will be hosting a paper-free shredding event here from 9 to 1 at Borough Hall. Hillside kindergarten class will be also present to collect single-use plastic bags for the bench project, which we discussed at the last meeting. Chief Dillon and the Allendale Police Department will be accepting unwanted prescription drugs, which they will safely dispose of. The clerk's office will be selling compost permits as well as processing Crestwood Lake registrations and taking badge photos. And Michelle, I think there's some other things that may also happen on that day as well, right?
Yes, we're working on them.
Okay.
I think for the next meeting.
Okay.
In
So,
conjunction with the Green Team and the John Fell House.
right.
Yeah.
So there is, so that it's certainly a date to mark.
Oh, exciting.
It's so
Anticipation.
exciting.
Yeah, so and a lot of good things. And the nice things for here, you know, a one-stop shop. There'll be a lot of things that we can do. So for the permits in Crestwood Lake, et cetera. A lot of the last 2 weeks were at meetings that the council members have discussed. And that's all that I have. 2 minutes. Anyone want to take it? Right?
No, I'm just gonna really nothing further because obviously a lot of the time this week at the office was, you know, getting I's dotted, T's crossed for the agreement this evening. But I just want to supplement, bless you, just want to supplement one thing the Councilwoman Homan mentioned. Her focus was quite properly on water quality and making sure that first quality water remains available to the residents. But I don't want to lose sight of the fact that there is also, I'll call it a maintenance or economic aspect to this that is probably of no less significance in some ways. And I'm not talking about just the transactional economics of the purchase price. Longer term, there's a major price tag associated with the PFAS temporary and permanent obligation that was just outlined by the councilwoman, as well as an aging infrastructure in totality. So, you know, not to be lost in all of this, priority one is the quality of the drinking water, but the economics overall, both in the contract itself, where the Suez bid was much, much higher than was anticipated or forecast, but also in the maintenance obligation ongoing, both in having to staff an ongoing water utility department, which would be expensive, but also to address an aging water system.
Right. Great point. Thank you. Anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, 7:59. So I will request a motion to adjourn the work session.
So moved, Holman.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Steve. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. So it's now 8 o'clock. The time is now 8 p.m. and this is the March 24th regular session of the Allendale Mayor and Council. Welcome to everyone who's joining us tonight in person and via Zoom. At this time, I ask the public present to please mute your devices so as not to distract from the business of the meeting. There'll be two opportunities for those present to speak during this meeting, and we will advise you at the appropriate times. Michelle, please read the Open Public Meetings Act announcement.
Sure, in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice requirements have been satisfied. Dates for the year confirmed at the annual meeting are posted on the public bulletin board in the municipal building and on the borough website, published in the record within the first 10 days of the new year, and copies are sent to the Ridgewood News and Star Ledger. Notice of this meeting by the March 22nd, 2022 Sunshine Notice was sent to the record, the Ridgewood News and Star Ledger, and has been posted on the public bulletin board in the municipal building and on the borough website.
Great. If you can all please join me to rise to salute the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Michelle, please conduct the roll call.
Sure, Councilwoman Holman. Here. Councilwoman Lovasolo.
Here.
Councilman O'Connell is absent. Councilman O'Toole.
Here.
Councilman Sasso.
Here.
Councilwoman Wilsinski
Here.
and Mayor Bernstein.
Here, thank you very much. A public comment on agenda items only. Is there anyone from the public wishes to speak on an agenda item? Not seeing anyone. Close the meeting to the public for this portion. Approval of the minutes. So we're going to, I'm going to request a motion to approve the minutes of the September 23rd, 2021 work session and September 20. Let me start over. Approve the minutes of September 23rd, 2021 work session and September 23rd, 2021 regular session. And council members O'Connell, Wazinski, and Lovasolo will need to abstain. So I would request a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Thank you. Second,
Holman.
thank you. Michelle, please conduct a roll call.
Councilwoman Holman.
Yes.
Councilman O'Toole.
Yes.
Councilman Sasso.
Yes.
Is that it?
Yeah.
It's enough?
That's enough.
Okay,
Majority of those eligible to vote.
good.
Yes.
Now I'm going to request a motion to approve the minutes of the October 14th work session and regular session, October 28th work session and regular session, November 18th work session and regular session, December 2nd work session and regular session, December 16th work session and regular session minutes. And for that, Councilwoman Lovasolo needs to abstain. So I would request a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Matt. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Amy. Michelle, please conduct the roll call.
Councilwoman Holman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lovasolo abstained. Councilman O'Connell is absent. Councilman O'Toole.
Yes.
Councilman Sasso.
Yes.
and Councilwoman Wilsinski.
Yes.
Great, thank you. And then finally, I'm going to request a motion to approve the minutes of the January 3rd, 2022 reorganization meeting.
So moved.
Thank you, Steve. Second,
Second.
thank you, Matt. Michelle, please conduct a roll call.
Councilwoman Holman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lovasolo.
Woohoo, yes.
Councilman O'Connell is
Welcome.
absent. Councilman O'Toole.
Yes.
Councilman Sasso.
Yes.
And Councilwoman Wilsinski.
Yes.
Great, thank you. And thank you, Michelle and everyone at Borough Hall for getting all those minutes together. We appreciate it. Ordinance for second reading and public hearing, 2022-01. Michelle, please read the title of the ordinance.
Sure. The following ordinance published herewith was first read by title only on March 10th, 2022, and posted on the bulletin board of the lobby of the municipal building and borough website. This is ordinance 22-01, an ordinance to amend chapter 53 of the Code of the Borough of Allendale, officers and employees, to fix the salaries, wages, and compensation of the officers and employees of the Borough of Allendale for the year 2022.
Great, thank you. I will open the floor for public comments on ordinance 22-01. Not seeing anyone. I would request a council member to make a motion to move to pass and adopt on second and final reading ordinance 22-01. Notice of same shall be published according to law.
So moved.
Thank you, Matt. Second.
Second, Lovasolo.
Thank you, Suzanne. Michelle, please conduct a roll call.
Councilwoman Holman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lovasolo,
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell is absent, Councilman O'Toole,
Yes.
Councilman Sasso,
Yes.
and Councilwoman Wilson.
Yes.
Great. Next on the agenda, 22-103, authorize execution of agreement of sale of Allendale's water system, Suez Water, New Jersey, Inc. So I would request, hold on.
I was gonna jump.
Right. I would-
Don't race me, anybody.
Right. I would request a motion to resolution 22-103.
So moved.
Great. Thank you very much. I would, a second.
Second.
Thank you, Steve. Michelle, please conduct a roll call.
Sure. Councilwoman Holman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lovasolo,
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell is absent, Councilman O'Toole,
Yes.
Councilman Sasso,
Yes. Supposed to be Marv Albert. but-
Councilwoman Wilson.
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much. Now, for the consent agenda, I would request a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Thank you, Amy. Second.
Holman.
Thank you, Michelle. Please conduct a roll call.
Councilwoman Holman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lovasolo,
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell is absent, Councilman O'Toole,
Yes.
Councilman Sasso.
Yes.
And Councilwoman Wilson.
Yes.
Okay. Any unfinished business? Any new business? No. Committee reports we already did. Staff and professionals, we started. Ray, Michelle, would you like to give your report?
I just wanted to thank the clerk's office for it. It really is a team effort, and especially John. Gill, who helped with it.
Right. So thank you. And I know it's a team effort. We had a meeting today with Suzanne, our newest councilwoman, and you could see that there is a team. Everyone's helping everyone else. It's really, there's a nice collegiality in there, which is great. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Ron, would you like to give your report?
Yeah, well, real quick, regards to the clerk's office, that friendship and, you know, closeness starts with Michelle, so.
Right.
She doesn't want to take credit for it, that's a big part of why it gets along so well. DPW wise, as we said, you know, Rich McDowell is killing it on the lake, getting the lake ready. We are shorthanded. You know, we had Lane retired on short notice, Lane Simon, and two other employees are out. We have 8-man staff and 2 other guys are out on disability, so we have 5 guys that are down 40%. So we want to thank Arthur at Conquest Construction, who is one of the owners, is Frank, who lives in town. He stepped up the fields, the baseball fields, softball fields, did a great job. He does have interest, he's involved in the program. And he actually did the pitching mound at the
Saw it,
grandstand.
yeah.
You saw,
Yep.
you might check it out. So really a great job. They used 10 pounds of pitching, 10 bags of pitching clay, which we supplied, but you know, big difference. We covered it so it doesn't get soaked last night. Tonight, the Johnny Petrino and Ray Frazier by themselves got the lacrosse, soccer, and then that practice that some of the teams were using the fields practicing already. Americans, we got a nice compliment. It's nice when you hear back from some of these guys. The gentleman who runs the Americans always gets back to us and thanks us. It makes the guys feel good. Got that. We had there's a lot of things going on. I'll leave it at that. We won't get the other meeting going. That's some stuff going on.
Sure.
There's a lot of between fields, some construction, other projects. The playground, unfortunately, like we said, we heard some of the temper. The reason we have a hold up on the playground, we're up to the point now we need to pour more footings for the rest of the new equipment, and you can't pour with the freeze and then,
Right.
you know, if people forget 2 Saturdays on the 12th, you get ice.
Right.
So we check the ground. We're also to pour next week, and we might not be pouring now because of the change in temperature again. We are on schedule with the playground with the new safety surface and everything, with new swings or down at DPW by Memorial Day. We don't know, someone will beat us up if we don't have it done. So we will have playground, all the phase 2 and phase 3, the playground will be done by Memorial Day. We'll get that taken care of. We did a pre-construction meeting, I said last, on the downtown streetscape project. Contract is ready to go. It's just material, very else in the country. Material that was formed 6 weeks out is now 12 to 18 weeks out. You did notice that the contractor put the ground base.
Oh my gosh, I was walking the dogs. I'm like, called Amy. I'm like, it looks good.
They did a good job.
That came out good.
Yeah.
So, Dan Rich has already given him credit, he's a great mechanic. I wanted to get the sweeper out. I sent you that. Yeah, and again, no complaints, no nothing. Talk about team effort. In between fixing police cars, as the chief will know, he's out sweeping 3 days this week. I sent you guys a picture. My fun life, I think a picture of the material he collected.
Is that what that
But
was?
yeah, so that's what the picture was. That was a picture of the debris that he picked up. So he's on top of that. So a lot of good things happening. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much. And I do want to, you had mentioned it as just an append to my mayor's report that Allendale, we all know Allendale is the best, and recently 201 magazine recognized our downtown as a finalist for their best of Bergen. The borough, especially Council President Wazinski and Ron Kistner, have been working hard to make our downtown an even more attractive and inviting destination. So as we've been saying all along, shop local, eat local, drink local, do everything you can to support our restaurants, shops, and businesses. Is Lissa on the line? Okay, I know we will be speaking to her tomorrow at 12:30. Chief of Police, Chief Dillon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're working with everyone at the clerk's office, organizing National Night Out, finalizing details for on-site reaccreditation, tentatively scheduled for early May. Working with John Gill on traffic safety related PSAs, focusing on downtown West Allendale Avenue. Collaborating with other area police agencies to address the uptick in car thefts and related crimes. And just to expand a little bit about what Councilman O'Toole had mentioned in his report, there was unfortunately a car stolen from the borough yesterday. It was received to us by the state police. They were tracking another stolen car that was in town. I was in the office listening to the radio transmission, decided to get out and see what was going on, and I came across both stolen cars on my own.
Oh.
So unfortunately, they drove at a high rate of speed, and because of Attorney General guidelines, we're not permitted to pursue.
Right.
So I gently escorted them out of the borough and onto 17 South and onto the Parkway. So last I heard, the state police were in Newark trying to recover both stolen vehicles.
Right.
Unfortunately, vehicles are stolen for 2 reasons: to sell overseas and to commit other crimes. So there's a bigger systemic issue with the stolen vehicles being used in more heinous crimes. Thank goodness in other areas of the state. But as you may have or may not have seen in the paper yesterday, there was a carjacking in Washington Township. So we're working diligently with other area agencies, forming a task force to try to dissuade criminal behavior in our areas.
110 miles an hour on the pursuit on that one.
I did see that. Pat threw it told me.
Yeah.
Right.
They have it at a light, right?
Correct. So
The
even
Attorney
in
General
Allendale,
guideline doesn't apply there?
Well, not the police cars, the offender that
yes.
hit 110 miles an hour. on the state.
Wow.
Going through the toll booth on George Washington Bridge, the car was later recovered in Harlem, unoccupied. So the bigger, there's a lot of issues with these stolen cars, not just classifying it as a property crime. The driving is egregious, and I witnessed it firsthand through a school zone, and our hands are
I
very
know.
much tied.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. We've discussed this in public safety, but thank you. Yeah, thank you for
And
everything.
obviously, these guys know that, right?
Oh,
Sure.
absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And they're taking it.
How fast can you go up to?
0. So we're not permitted to pursue whatsoever for
Oh.
stolen vehicles.
Can you light them up?
You cannot initiate the pursuit. So pursuit is defined as if that driver is actively engaged in eluding you, then it's a pursuit. So I truthfully, sir, I didn't get a chance to put on my lights because they were driving.
And they're not
that
pulling
way.
over anyway.
They're not stopping.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Thank you very much.
there were some comments that I probably stay inside your office. You're getting involved in too much. But this is the nature of the beast. This is what we have to do.
Yeah, no, thank you for you and for the whole department.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Tyler Yacarino, Borough Webmaster and IT.
Actually, I did have a small prepared report. I know that Matt was very excited about the number of phone calls that he reported on, but I do, now that we have the new phone system, we get to see how many calls the borough receives. And the borough, we've been on this phone system since December 20th of 2021. And incoming and outgoing calls to the borough is 39,616 calls since December 20th.
Wow.
So it really kind of puts into perspective
Right.
how many people are calling in and calling out.
When you read that number, I didn't know if it was the number of Oprah requests or the number of.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure which one it was.
38,900 or over.
Right.
That's all I have.
Great, thank you. Okay, so,
Just, I forgot to mention, I told some of these, we had an afternoon meeting today, just know that how they wear with Alyssa, Chief Dillon, Tyler, and Jim Covan of Covan. We all know cyber attacks are, we went to that FBI seminar that one time they told it's not if, it's when.
Right.
First of all, Covan, Jinx does a great job for us already. There's a credit we can get from JIF off our deductible. And again, Jim and Tyler have that's not only tier 1, but tier 2 already. We're going to deal with our insurance risk management in a week or so, and by the month we'll have that all finalized with JIF.
right,
So if we do, God forbid, we get hit by a cyber attack, the deductible is down to $5,000, saving us $20,000.
thank you. Thank
Have
you.
a more formal report at one of the council meetings to talk about.
Great.
You can't have all the fine details of the computer system, so that's what they needed me for.
Yeah, clearly, no, appreciate that.
Ron had some great insight.
No, I'm sure, no.
Hey, just as a note, since
Yep.
we don't have Ed here, and probably I could have given DPW
Yes.
a report too, but I do feel like I've been up at Crestwood quite a bit, and it is really nice that the blue and the painting and all that going on, and it's fun when I'm walking with my dog and people are like, oh, this is awesome. Crestwood's coming together. So thank you.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
Rich enjoys his work up there too, because I walked
Oh,
up
he's
there
so
and he was blasting some music. He was all happy.
Just the dog, I threw my better cigars, he better like. it.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, thank you. Thank you to everyone. Public comment, open the floor to the public on any matter. Anyone wish to be heard? Mr. Thomas, you come first. Okay.
Good evening there.
Good evening, sir.
I have a few questions that if you will answer tonight, then I can wrap up a number of assignments that I have accepted over the years. And if you cannot answer them in the 3 minutes that's allowed to me, then I'll offer them to you in writing later on.
Okay,
I believe the first question may be out of date.
Mhm.
It's simply this: a number of our wells have been closed or out of service for many years. Were any of those included in the system as sold to be sold?
So
Yeah,
the only
please.
wells that were included in there are ones that are currently part of our permit. So I don't remember what the number was, but I don't believe. that
There
it
were
was-
three wells that were out of service for.
Yeah, if
at
you
least
email
10
me
years.
back, I'll see. I don't believe they are. I believe that only the wells that we are currently using, because those other wells were decommissioned. So,
And one closed well is. part of the transaction.
yeah, when you say close to time, like we do have well 11 is currently closed, but it is part of the transaction as it is part of our permitting.
The others then that will not be sold, do you know the status of the pump and the effluent valves and those, are they capped permanently?
I will have to, I believe they are permanently capped. But I will confirm.
Very well, thank you. The second question is, Mayor, I believe at the closing of the sale of 220-230, there was $9.25 million passed to the borough. Is that correct?
It was actually 10.2.
Because there's $1 million. Yeah.
9.250
It was 10.2 and 9,750 was in cash, and then the other 3,050 was in an escrow that we're
That's an
going to use
escrow.
to put towards the
Where
220.
is the 9.250 now?
It went to pay down the debt of the
It's been-
building.
That debt has been paid off
Correct.
to that amount, to nine
To, yeah,
point, which leaves a balance of about 4 million in debt. Is that
Correct.
Sounds right.
Very good. Very impressed.
Fortunately, I can still subtract. But not is there a possibility that the 3.5 billion in escrow will be spent or exhausted before our new building is complete? And if that comes to pass, what are your options?
So the 3.5 million that we are going to have in escrow, first we have to close on the 220, which is the front building,
Yes.
to complete that whole transaction. The idea is to still build a community center and borough hall offices. I'm actually having a closed session talking to the council about that tonight to give them updates and some of the new pricing and how that's transpiring.
I guess I'm not clear. There was a 500,000 put in escrow earlier on. Is that money included in the escrow for which will be drawn upon by the contractor to build the?
Yeah, that was the deposit. I think that was the deposit,
Initial
the
deposit.
initial deposit.
That is
So,
not included
yeah,
in the
no.
escrow for the building.
no.
I guess I come back to my question, and is there a possibility that that money will not be enough to complete the new building? And if so, what are your options then?
So that's always a possibility. As you know, there is so many changes in the world, and that's kind of what we're talking about with the council today. So if there is going to be an overage, we have to discuss that, and if we still think it's the best thing for the borough to proceed, that's the decision we'll make.
Several years ago, I think maybe 3, the land use board approved an application, part of which was to expand the building owned by Bourse at 240, and I believe to put another floor on one of the buildings and to alter the parking arrangements. Do you know the status of that project now?
I'm pretty sure it's on hold. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on
Was
hold.
there
He
an
went to the land use
expiration
board a
date,
while ago.
I can't remember. Was there an expiration date as to the material when it was memorialized by the land use board? There was a date, a start date, but then I think the council approved it and it went before the county board. So is it still open? Is that?
No, I don't recall a council resolution on that.
I don't
think-
either.
I think there was, I think you're correct that there would have been the land use board approval.
Right.
And then there would have, being adjacent to a county road, there would have been the dual county approval. Since that wasn't before us, I can't tell you that I'm specifically aware of the resolution and the timelines in it, but I think you're correct that there would have been some reference in there. Probably the land use board resolution would provide an answer to your question, but I don't think that there was anything that came before the governing body on that. It was a traditional, land use board application approved by the land use board and then sent for simultaneous approval with the county.
And I'm at that building all the time, and I don't think he's
My
building.
question is, do you know the status of the project and it's open or closed?
We
I don't
don't, but
know that
we
he
can
made an
check.
application, did he?
Yes, Ron.
I'll check with Anthony Hacker, our building inspector, I'll get back to you. Anthony will know the answer.
All right, I only ask that because there are implications with respect to the traffic of the extension of Myrtle and the traffic that will be generated here. And my suggestion to you, I don't have any other, is please determine the status of that and whether the board intends to proceed. Then you will want to re-examine the traffic issue that's in that application with respect to
220,
Of course.
What or when, or what point in the project will the borough of Allendale acquire ownership of the new building, the new municipal building? And at that time, will there be any monetary consideration involved?
So we still have to close on the front building. We haven't even done that yet. So there's a lot of paperwork and there's a lot of legal documents that are involved before we even close. Then when we close, it's a whole process of the demo and permitting, et cetera. So we're talking definitely a couple of years down the line.
Well, at what point doing the construction of the new building, the building itself and the property will be owned by
Hampshire.
Hampshire.
Correct.
So my question is, at what point in the project?
Oh, you're testing me. I believe it's going to be when it's finished, then they transfer it back
Conveyance
to
back
us.
at that point.
Conveyance back, yeah.
There'll be no further financial consideration in that transaction. Is that correct?
Beyond your earlier question about, what if the cost delta for the project exceeds the amount of consideration paid? That would be the only contingency. It's not a contingency to transfer, it's a contingency to building based on cost.
Thank you. I'm nearing the end. Do I have 3 minutes?
You're over your 3 minutes, but I'm trying to be as accommodating as possible. So how much?
Shortly. Mayor Bernstein, what is your policy regarding minutes of the council when in an executive session? And are such minutes actually recorded, and have they been during your administration?
When you say recorded, we take minutes,
You take minutes.
right?
Are they then subject at any point to the open,
Well,
the open public record?
until once it becomes.
When the need for confidentiality no longer exists, then by statute, the obligation is then to release them into the public domain, much the same way that you see the regular meetings. Clerk is not under a requirement to take verbatim minutes in a closed session. But yes, Michelle does take her minutes. And then to your question about when they get released, and I think we really have had very few closed sessions, right? To be honest with you, I mean, it's only been.
I guess my question can be answered this way. Do any of you recall any minutes of an executive session being released during your term on the council?
Well, I'm thinking.
There has to be,
only-
yeah.
Michelle, you can correct me if you're close to this, but I'm thinking
Yeah, they're
that the
just
closed
some are
sessions
redacted.
that I recall are by and large were 220, 230 or negotiations with Suez.
Which hopefully will be
Yeah,
released.
so there may have been one or two other closed session items relating to, well, we could have a litigation issue as well. So I'm not sure that any of the ones that I can presently recall have resolved themselves, albeit one of them may have been resolved tonight with the
To
approval of the
extend that
contract.
question a little bit further, I'm interested also in litigation. And when a litigation matter that involves either the mayor or the council or the borough
Mhm.
Has been resolved, has that been made a part of the open records available to the public?
Trying to think of what fits that description.
Well, let me advise one that I'm involved in, I believe.
Okay.
And that is the D'Antonio versus Barra, I believe was the litigation.
We were just advised, I believe it was last week by Mary McDonald, that he has filed a further motion for either reconsideration. So believe it or not, and this is of historic dimension, as you know, it's still ongoing. So his case was dismissed for, I'm gonna say the umpteenth time.
Right.
And we just received word, I think, Michelle, last week, that from Mary, that he filed yet either another appeal or a further motion for reconsideration. So unfortunately, I guess the answer is that one really has not yet resolved.
Right.
Do you know if the Mayor Bernstein or ex-Mayor Barra or the Borough Council is the party?
I don't know, but that one we could get you a discrete answer. I have to look at the complaint. I mean, there's nothing confidential about that. We could get you an answer on that.
One last question there.
Sure.
For about the last 3 or 4 years, I've been privileged to send you private correspondence with regard to 220, 230 in the form of emails and sometimes US mail. You never responded, but my question is, did you find any of that useful?
I've turned all of your correspondence, I've turned over to Borough Council. You want to speak to that?
I'm sure it was useful, but I'd be only guessing at what we're referring to at the moment. So I don't want to, but yes, when you send it, the mayor, has discussed it with me. But I'm not sure exactly how to specifically respond. I have to admit that.
Will you somehow keep us advised as to this matter has been reopened, and I'm hearing about tonight.
D'Antonio.
Both former Mayor Barra and Mayor White were involved in the original litigation of the.
I don't know whether they were parties or not. Do you recall?
I don't recall them being parties.
I think it was the borough.
Right.
And I think it was the old CFO.
Yes,
Paula, yeah.
right. I think you're correct. I don't think they were named parties.
But I can certainly get an answer for you on the current one that, as I said, was reappealed.
Fine. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very much,
you.
Mr. Thomas. Thank you for your time and your interest. Anyone else from the public? Mr. Savastano, come on up, name and address.
Yes, Mayor and Council, Mark Savastano, 22 Greenland Place. I did want to mention the ongoing issue in Ukraine, and I hope that's in mind of everybody here. Specifically with regard to the announcement I heard today, the possibility that the U.S. will be accepting refugees. And my question to the council is, if indeed refugees are allowed to arrive here, would that be against any borough ordinances to accept a family into our homes and host them? Is there any reason why, if I decided to open my home to a family, if that would be against any borough ordinance?
Well, you can accept money from somebody to house them, or they can be your
Not
guests.
to my knowledge, it's not about accepting money, it's about offering refuge.
So I know nothing.
I'd say
about-
no. Yeah.
I would say
Right.
it's fine. You're having house guests essentially. You're not
It's very nice of
renting.
you, Mark.
You're not renting to them, especially a short-term rental, which is not.
And there's
permitted.
people who have, I know, what like the, the students.
Yeah, foreign exchange students.
Foreign exchange
Yeah.
students, so it's kind of.
Be
a-
akin to that, really.
You heard, you collectively, we're all, thank you for what's in your heart. And we're not aware of anything that would prohibit that.
And on a separate subject, I did want to mention about the green team.
You may.
I have been receiving a number of emails, including from Councilman Sasso. People are starting to ask questions, thankfully, because of the postings that are going on the borough website. People have become aware of the green team. And people are beginning to ask questions about how they can recycle specific items. It's been very interesting to see what it is that people are concerned about. The last email that I responded to yesterday was in regard to recycling one size. A member of the public, I believe, with regard to graduation signs that they purchased and how they could possibly recycle it. So I reached out to the manufacturer, to the salesperson, and asked him to reach out to the manufacturer.
So, recycling, I'm sure you well know, is not just about throwing it into the right dumpster. I'm on social media all the time, giving stuff away.
Yes,
I mean, I must give a couple, 3 things away a week.
yes,
And, sometimes people get excited about it. I'll take it. And sometimes just collect stuff.
Yes.
But I always try to do that. I had a remote. It could be anything. I had a remote control for a TV. You want it? I can't even begin to remember the stuff I've given away. So that's recycle.
yes, it is. We use it. And it's important that we start to get some understanding from the public that we're here to help in that regard. And I'm thankful for the fact that the website has been part of that.
Great.
Thanks.
Well,
Thank
Mark,
you.
I want to thank you too for quickly responding to these people in town when they have these questions. You're very quick to respond and then to further investigate. So thank you for that.
Love your frog mascot, by the way.
That's,
You gonna get a frog costume? Come here on the 23rd of April.
Yeah, sure. I'll do it.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks.
very much. I appreciate everything you do. Anyone else from the public? Okay, so we are going into closed session. So you guys are done, but we're not done. So what we're going to do now, thank you for everyone who came in. I'm going to ask for a motion to approve Resolution 22-111 to authorize the governing body to enter into closed session to discuss an attorney-client privilege matter being 220-230 West Crescent Avenue, contract negotiations. Councilwoman Wazinski is going to give an update. So I would request the motion.
So moved, Sasso.
Thank you. Second.
Second,
Thank you, Amy. Michelle, please conduct a roll call.
Councilwoman Holman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lovasolo,
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell is absent, Councilman O'Toole,
Yes.
Councilman Sasso.
Yes.
and Councilwoman
yes.
Great.
And I think it's fair to say that when the council comes out of closed session, no action will be taken other than to adjourn the meeting.
Right. So you're not going to miss anything other than us to come back from closed session and then take a motion to adjourn, to close the meeting. So thank you very much, everyone. Everyone, the time is now 9:48 and the regular session has resumed. I would request a motion to adjourn the regular session.
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
Amy. Second. Thank you, Steve. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, everyone.